Episode, and today we're going to give you a preview of CRS 2023. Now, I know that CRS is 7 months away. I looked at the calendar today and confirmed it, but it's never too early to start talking about it. And of course, we are putting early bird registration up for sale tomorrow, so you probably would appreciate some information on CRS ahead of time. And so that's what we're going to try and do today. And as you can see, our panelists today are our agenda chair and vice chair, Joey Tack and Brent Michaels, will later on be joined by Tim Foysette from Warner Brothers and Clay Honeycutt, a board member and the chairman of the CRB Research Committee. Tim will give you an outline of what we're doing with the Digital Music Summit, and I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes. And Clay's going to give you an overview of the research project that we have planned for CRS 2023. But to frame the afternoon for you, here's an overview and some questions that we know you're going to have about CRS in the next hour and as we lead into registration tomorrow. So this is a day before registration. We'll put registration up tomorrow for early bird registration. The price point on early bird registration is $549. We are proud that we've been able to hold that rate for the past 4 years. And so once again, all the content that you see at CRS, all the sessions, the luncheons, the breakfasts, Amazon, the Big Machine lunch, the Warner Brothers lunch, Acoustic Alley, all those things are included and bundled in the $549 rate, which is good for tomorrow only. And by the way, I do want to stress, because some people have asked this, registration for CRS starts at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Central Standard Time. So I just going over registration rates. 1 day rate at early bird, $549, and then on Friday, we will bump the rate to $649, but we'll keep that rate all the way to CRS up to the walk-up rate. And once CRS comes, we close down online registration 2 weeks before CRS for administration purposes. And then online walk-up registration at CRS will be $729. And again, that includes all the things I just mentioned. Now, one thing you may have seen since we announced our keynote and information about CRS 360 and some other things is we've pivoted to a $100 fee for New Faces show tickets. And I will tell you that this is done with a lot of discussion and a lot of apprehension. In the past, New Faces tickets have been bundled into your registration rate, and we know everything's going up. It's not a simple matter of passing those costs on to consumers. In a way, we are really hoping to get the people who really need and want a ticket to New Faces, a ticket in their hands for that show. But New Faces show tickets will be $100 in addition to your registration. Everyone registering will have the opportunity to buy 2 New Faces show tickets when they register. And you must be a registered CRS attendee to purchase New Faces tickets. We mentioned last week our keynote speaker. We're very excited about this. Curtis Leggett, the president and CEO of the NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters, is our keynote speaker for CRS 2023. This is going to be a fireside chat. It'll be moderated by Kurt Johnson, president of CRB, and he is terrific at this. And I think that these two gentlemen have a real 30,000-foot view of the business and where we're heading as broadcasters. So Kurt will moderate this discussion with Kurt, and that should be really, really excellent. So we're very proud and excited to have Curtis Leggett join us as our keynote speaker for CRS 2023. In addition, one thing that we're going to have this year is a wellness resource initiative, and I'll talk more about that. But you know, in the past, some of you may remember that we've had inflammation testing, we've had hearing tests, we've had some other things that are focused on your health as our attendees. And this year we're going to do something a little bit different, but with the same thing in mind. We're going to give you some resources in terms of how to get health coverage, and maybe if some broadcasters need financial assistance, we'll give you information on how to acquire that. And I'll talk more about that, and we'll have a couple special guests joining us to talk about those resources that we'll provide for you at CRS 2023. But right now, I want to hand it over to Joey Tack and Brent Michaels. They have been together. This is their third year working together, leading our agenda. They've done a terrific job. And I want to have them just take over here and talk about the process, the overview for what they're trying to accomplish at CRS 23 with the agenda, and a little preview of some specific sessions. So gentlemen, I'll hand it right over to you right now.
Thanks, RJ. Yeah, we are happy to be back for CRS 2023. We have really narrowed our process over the years of working together and determined that it's a great idea to ask people what they want. And it's not just the surveys that get sent out, but talking to people that are influential in the various sectors and spaces of our industry, whether it's music or digital or broadcast or talent or consultants. And we did just that. We went to what we considered to be the biggest opinion and thought leaders out there and asked them some very tough strategic questions and took those answers and combined them and sifted them and filtered them and tried to determine what the biggest themes were that we really needed to attack, because there's a lot of things that people would like to hear and like us to talk about, but we only have so much time, so we wanted to focus on the biggest ones. In addition to that, this year when we picked our agenda committee, we had an interesting challenge where we said we want to have a smaller committee, but we want to have a more diverse committee. And we were able to do that. We've got 16 people that are from about every different company you can think of that represent every role in the industry that you can think of, and some of them with multiple roles. So we had a very diverse, very experienced group in that room to help us tackle some of these themes and brainstorm hundreds upon hundreds of ideas. And some of those ideas and themes that we came up with were being relevant with today and tomorrow's consumer. That was the number one thing we saw over and over. We need to be more relevant. We need to be speaking the language of today's consumer. We need to talk about embracing new technology channels. Clearly video's on there, audio's on there as well. Improving the quality and the product experience as well. So we want to be more relevant, and how could we come up with sessions and educational panels to be able to address that? Employees, all areas of employees. And that might mean mental wellness. That might mean you're an employee wondering, hey, what's going on with, broadcast radio? How do I future-proof myself to be in this business or prepare myself for the next step? Also, the diversity in the workplace is incredibly important. Not only did we start by trying to have a diverse group of people on the agenda committee, but we want to have some sessions that address that as well. Talent as a whole. And when we talk about talent, a lot of times we're thinking about on-air talent and people that work on our digital channels. How do we make talent stars, and how do they gain fans? How do you expand your brand? What's a personality's job in 2023? We will be addressing that. One other theme we came up with was music. Obviously, we're so much of us in the music industry. So DSPs will own their own day. We've got our Digital Music Summit, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. But we want to go beyond the algorithm. How do we humanize our partners at DSPs who are there working behind the scenes? How do we crack the algorithm? And then finally, revenue. We're in this, because we love music, of course, and we love serving our communities. But how do we generate revenue, and how do we do it in a new way in 2023? So by attacking those themes and really brainstorming on those, we hope to, really reach our goals of pushing our industry forward as CRS has always done. We want to have innovative ideas. We want to challenge the status quo. There's going to be some sessions that people are going to walk out of and maybe disagree with, but we feel like that's okay, because we really want to make folks think, and we really feel like change sometimes is painful but necessary. We want to present timely and topical and relevant topics. And finally, when you walk out of a room, particularly these educational sessions, we want to give you something to walk out with. Sometimes it's just some notes that are on the screen that you take a photo of. Sometimes it's a physical handout, but physical takeaways you could take back to work and get back to work right on. And Brent, I think, is going to go ahead and share some of the sessions that we're working on. It's very early, but we've got some we're really excited about. Brent.
Thanks, Joey. Yes, we're really excited. And I know Joey and I both want to thank the agenda committee that's been working this year for the last about 8 weeks. We've been brainstorming and putting together some sessions to hit all those goals that Joey just talked about. And there are 3 we want to share with you that we're excited about and we're developing to present to you at CRS 2023. And it all kind of funnels into the different kind of subject matters that Joey was talking about. That the industry leaders and attendees and people that we've talked to have told us these are the topics that we need to be addressing at CRS 2023. So the first one is, as you kind of heard Joey talk about, is relevance, and relevance to today's consumer and our product being something that people want to engage with and listen to. And of course, the listener has become a lot more diverse. And there's a lot of talk, of course, about millennials and Gen Z, and whether your station or your outlet targets listeners and consumers 18 to 49 or 25 to 54, you might not realize the oldest Gen Zers will be in that 25 to 54 life group by the time we hit CRS 2023. And so one of the panels that we are working on is a conversation with Gen Z. That's right. Okay, Boomer is what it's called. And yes, we're going to, delve into how to connect, how to engage, how to attract members of Gen Z to our products. We're working on and kind of developing, trying to have someone, a consumer, just, a live listener kind of on stage with us, answering some questions. We're going to talk to personalities and kind of folks that are in the industry that are also in that Gen Z group, as well as radio veterans, to kind of start to put together the puzzle of how we can make our products relevant to this Gen Z audience that is now kind of coming into, even, if kind of historically your station or your outlet has always targeted 25, 54s, that group is now entering that space, and how we can continue to be relevant to try to get to the target audiences that we want. So we're really excited about that. Okay, Boomer, a conversation with Gen Z. Also this year, one of the big things you heard Joey mention that we kind of were tasked with is equipping talent with the proper tools. Talent is more important than ever, and we know that from a number of ways. Folks, social media brands, the way we need to be engaging people on our products. Our talent is so important, and so one of the sessions we're working on is called Prep Rally, because really, when it comes down to it, how are we engaging our listeners, the people that consume our product, when they are listening to our shows, and are we doing enough to train our talent into coming and finding effective show prep? And so this session will be led by some of the kind of key personalities and industry leaders that teach people how to do this. And there are lots of different ways to show prep, but in a world where kind of all radio talents, or at least most of them, are wearing multiple hats, how can you efficiently and effectively show prep for your air shift? And so we're really excited about Prep Rally. We think that's going to be a key session for air talent to attend. And a third session we want to preview for today is called Merch Madness. Merch is kind of becoming a part of all of our language, but merch is slang for merchandise. And, we probably have all kind of been to a station event or had at our stations over the course of the years, T-shirts or stickers or kind of little pens or other keychains that we've handed away. But, in this kind of world where, as we see it, especially at shows, people really want that souvenir of their experience. How can we create more quality merch for our radio stations in a way that is cost effective and not going to take a lot of time? There are a lot of services and places that are actually available for stations and businesses of all kinds to create quality merchandise that fans and listeners will actually want to wear. And so Merch Madness is a session that's designed to talk about the ways that you and your company can be a part of that trend, and to be artistic. And that way, when people engage with your station and they want to have something, that allows them to be an ambassador for you whenever they leave your event, or they're just kind of around your market, Merch Madness will teach you different ways that you can create quality merch and be cost effective, and perhaps even generate revenue at the same time. So those are 3 sessions. And of course, we're working on a full agenda, including the return of the programming mentoring breakfast, label mentoring breakfast, and women's mentoring breakfast. But a full agenda will be released, of course, closer to CRS. But we're really excited with this agenda team is coming up with.
Awesome. Thank you, Brent and Joey. And I just have to say that the preparation, Joey alluded to it earlier, but the talk about the prep session that you're talking about, what they've done in terms of getting ready to showcase topics and content for next year is really, really impressive. And that's why I think the agenda will be really on point. Now, we've only shown you or previewed 3 of the sessions, and there's more to come. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The other thing I will say, and one thing this agenda committee and the leadership is really making room for, is understanding that CRS is, as I mentioned earlier, it's 7 months away. So a lot can change between now and then. And they've left that opening to flex if they need to and hit a hot topic that may surface between now and then. So Joey and Brent, thanks for your leadership and assembling such a talented team of agenda members. One of the things that always happens at CRS is a really comprehensive, impactful research project. And Clay Honeycutt is with us today. Clay, thank you for joining us. Clay is the chairman of the research committee at CRB and has done a tremendous job in the last, I don't know, how long have you been? 4 or 5 years now, Clay.
Yeah,
and
a few years.
Yeah, and I think that, your vision for this and the committee that you've assembled, and, a lot of people don't know, you have an amazing committee. You've got Mike McVeigh and, some real programming leaders, Rod Phillips, and some really strong folks on your committee. And you've always come back with innovative stuff. And I think this year, you've really come up with it's sort of a back to basics, but in itself, it's kind of an innovative idea for where you want to go with this project. And I'll just hand it over to you so you can give all the nuts and bolts on it.
Yeah, thanks, RJ. Yeah, as we looked at the last few years, we've worked with New Voodoo. And as we were talking about this year's research project, I mean, with every research project, we always really try to go in with what's going to be actionable, what are going to be the takeaways, what are the hot topics right now. And in doing that, we realized in talking to the committee and talking to several other board members that we've never actually done a full-on music study, which is hard to believe in all the years of CRS. I mean, maybe there was one way back, but none of us could remember a full-on music, just straight up music, call it an auditorium music test, call it an OMT, whatever you want to call it. When we're going to do that this year. So we're working with New Voodoo again, and Carolyn and Lee have been just absolutely amazing. And this does several things for us. It will definitely provide a great takeaway for every radio station and the DSPs and labels to see how music is testing and what is testing. We've heard many times in research, and we've seen it in our own research for CRS, that some of the call them classics, call them today's favorites, all of those different things you do, the ways you can, throwback Thursdays, the way you can franchise them are making a comeback. And so we're going to test, we're going to do just a good old fashioned AMT, OMT, and we're going to do 700 titles. Along with that, we are going to we'll have perceptual questions as part of that as well. And in those perceptual questions, we'll be able to go back and check up on some of the questions and topics that we've covered in the last couple of years with New Voodoo. And so we'll be able to check in on key topics of how the audience is moving, where their listening habits are, why they're listening more, less, or the same, what is the impact of the DSP world, and where they're discovering new music, and all of those items that we've been discussing over the last couple of years. So you'll get both 700 titles of music research, you'll get perceptual review questions, and through this we'll do 2,500 respondents. We'll do them across multiple regions. and we'll do them in a good period of time where it's not the holidays. So that we get a really great response rate and really, good vibe on what's going on in music today. And we'll do that. And then with that, we'll be doing men and women. We're going to do ages 18 to 49. And through that, we'll be able to do multiple breakouts and multiple dissections of the data to be able to go younger, older, whatever you're targeting your radio station as. It'll have both men and women, great percentages of both, because we know that some stations only test females, but we know that men bring a huge response rate and a huge listening aspect to our radio stations. And we'll be able to tell all of that. We'll be able to dissect it by region. You'll be able to dissect it by title, artist, year, sound, different sound coding, obviously all the opportunities to look at the superstars of the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. We'll even look at bro country, newer pop crossover, everything. So there'll be a lot of era coding recommendations in that. And we'll really look at, as we put those 2,500 respondents in, it'll be about radio listeners, DSP listeners, fans of older music, fans of newer music, more recent fans to country music, and lifetime fans of country music. So going back to last year's study, which was really an era-based study, we'll look at all of those folks and really be able to dissect all of that as we generate that. With each research project we do for CRS, we try to make sure that there's enough data to be able to hold some 360s after the fact, where Carolyn and Lee can come in and really talk about how to set up your selector or music master or whatever you're using in the proper fashions and proper sound coding and other things like that. This really, really does, as RJ said, gets back to basics and fundamentals of how to help program your radio station and walk away with a real, tangible piece of information that you can go back and use on your radio station. And again, you can break it down based on where you're located, whether you're targeting men or women or them equally, and just so many great ways to be able to use this piece of information. And it's going to be a great study. Nuvu does it better than anybody, and they are just complete experts at that. They've been great partners the last 2 years. They will be a great partner this third year, and really excited to get this started. We know budgets are tight, and not a lot of people have money for their own research. And so this is always about, what do you get with your registration? What do you get by attending CRS? This is a real key, where you're going to be able to walk home with something that could fundamentally make your radio station better. So we hope you enjoy it. There'll be a lot more to come on that, but that's where we're headed, and it's part of the great agenda that Brent and Joey and the agenda committee is setting up. So really excited about that. RJ, back to you.
Hey, thank you so much. And I'm so glad you mentioned New Voodoo. Obviously, they're going to be on the conducting this study. But one of the great things that we've appreciated working with New Voodoo is the follow-up resource that they provide. And Clay mentioned it. We're definitely going to plan at least 2 CRS 360s following this, so you can really dig down into that music data and some of the perceptual items that will be included in this study. I think it's going to be really, really helpful, and we have appreciated their partnership. They are such a tremendous, their service is fantastic. Everything we've asked them to do, they've stepped up and just really helped us out. So can't wait to work with New Voodoo again. Clay, thank you again for your work and the work of your committee, because Clay represents the committee. He drives the vision of it, but I know that you appreciate all the members of the research committee.
Oh, they do an amazing job. Yeah, I mean, Brittany Schaefer, Joel Rabb, Mike McVeigh, just so many others. There's so many people. And then we've had other input from other board members like Gator Harrison and others that are really involved in this. So the committee does a phenomenal job and gives a lot of time and effort and energy. And then the additional, everyone knows how big a piece to CRS this research project is. So we always appreciate that opportunity.
And we're proud to bring this information to our attendees and the industry afterwards. So Clay, thank you very much for giving us a little preview on that. Another thing that we're going to do, and I alluded to it earlier, is a wellness resource initiative this year. As I said, we've done some health screenings in the past, but now as we talk to past attendees, they've always appreciated that. But I think that what they're looking for is some resources to help them in their day-to-day and their life, away from radio. And so there's three points to this. that we're going to do. And one of them, and I'll bring in Tatum Alsop right now. Tatum Alsop, excuse me, Tatum. Tatum is the founder and CEO of Music Health Alliance. And I'll just, from their website, their mission is to heal the music by providing access to healthcare through services that protect, direct, and connect music professionals with medical and financial solutions. Quick stat for you. I know Tatum can just reel off amazing, success stories that her organization has done over the last 9 years. But in the last 9 years, Music Health Alliance has impacted 18,000 music industry professionals across the nation. The reason that we're excited to have Music Health Alliance on site at CRS is because a lot of people in radio, Tatum, I don't think they know that you are a resource for radio as well. A lot of people don't even know that you exist. The people in town here, because you're based in Nashville, understand that you are a tremendous resource for musicians and the music community, but you can also apply your expertise to radio. And this is why you're going to be on site at Sierra. So I'll let you talk for a minute or two about Music Health Alliance and what you can accomplish for radio.
Sure. Thanks, RJ. Thanks so much for having us, y'all. We, the heads of our organization all started in country radio. So it's really special for us to come back to this. But the number one cause of bankruptcy in the US is medical debt. And for our industry, including radio, 76% of our industry is self-employed or part of a small business with no access to group benefits. So Music Health Alliance comes in and shores up that gap. So we provide everything from access to health insurance to navigating medical bills to just help finding a doctor. And all of our resources are free, absolutely no cost from birth to end of life. And we really put a strong emphasis on prevention of illness and wellness with the goal of helping careers be longer and stronger. And this is across the nation. So we're here to serve and we'll be on site. Senior care, Medicare is also a part of this. So we are excited, really excited to be here. And some of the radio stories, I mean, we hear all the time people passing the bucket, and anybody who's seen social media has seen someone that they know who's struggling with a medical crisis. And we really are here to help serve, and there are no gimmicks. We don't have anything to sell. So we're really excited to come back to our roots and help any way we can.
Tatum, we're looking forward to seeing you and having you introduce yourself to a lot of broadcasters who come to CRS who, as I said before, I know you probably don't love hearing this, but there's people out, around the country who don't know anything about Music Health Alliance, and we're proud to share what you've accomplished and what you can do for them when CRS comes. So thank you for coming on today and giving us just a little touch of what you provide for our industry. Thank you.
Thanks, RJ.
Another one too is a partnership that we have with the Broadcasters Foundation of America. And I think we have a couple of representatives on board with us today. The Broadcasters Foundation, this is another organization that some of you may not even be aware that exists. For more than 70 years, the Broadcasters Foundation of America has provided financial support to those broadcast industry professionals who have faced life-altering circumstances. They reach out across the country and they provide an anonymous safety net in cases of critical illnesses, advanced age, death of a spouse, accident, natural disaster, or other serious misfortune. They are, like CRS, they are a 501c3 public charity, and it is the only charity devoted exclusively to helping broadcasters in dire need. And I'm hoping that Peter Doyle, the vice president of the Broadcasters Foundation of America, and Tim McCarthy, the co-president, are with us today to help explain what their initiative is. If they did not make the call, then please understand that they will be on site. I talked to them earlier today and was blown away.
We're on here.
Oh, good. There you guys are.
Yeah, we're hiding. We're hiding, RJ.
We got faces for radio.
Yeah, we're trying to hide behind these faces. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm here with Peter Doyle. My name's Tim McCarthy, and we both work at the Broadcasters Foundation. It was funny what Tatum was talking about. I was listening about the emphasis of prevention with the her alliance she works for, and we're after that. We help people in critical need who need our help. And I'll tell you what that's all about. Right now, we give out $145,000 a month in checks to people in the broadcast industry on all levels that need help. Cancer, can't pay their bills, didn't have insurance, accident, disaster relief, as RJ talked about, the hurricanes, horrible rain that's been coming down certain parts of the country, people that get dislocated, lost their electricity, lost their house, they have no food for their kids. We're there as a safety net. And as RJ said, one of the issues that we've had is the tentacles within the broadcast business, particularly radio. We tend to do a lot of things in the Northeast only because a lot of our revenue generating events have been in the Northeast, but we help people all across the country. Right now, there's 115 people right now that we're sending checks to every single month, and sometimes over many years. I was talking to RJ this morning. I have a reporter that used to work for me in New York, and it's a true story. He moved to Dallas 3 months ago with a new job. The company had layoffs, lost his job, no health insurance, had a massive heart attack, triple bypass, no insurance, and he's living by himself with no friends in Dallas. He called us, he qualified, and now he's getting a check so he can get back on his feet. So we are really a support valve for the industry. We need missionaries, need people talking about us, going out telling folks at their stations that, hey, we're here. If they hear something, we want to know about it. And that's about it, Peter, if you want to add anything.
No, other than that, it feels, well, we're not particularly familiar with Music Health Alliance, as most aren't with the Broadcasters Foundation. But there seems to be some fascinating collaboration possible in the future, simply because the advice and the guidance of the Health Alliance could dovetail beautifully into our ability to provide some financial assistance for those that are challenged. So we're delighted to be on the podium with them, and very appreciative to Country Radio Seminar for being able to participate.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. We are looking forward to having you at CRS and hoping that our attendees take advantage. First of all, learn more about what you're doing, because the work you're doing and have been doing for many years is so important. And I hope that radio will pay attention and that this is available to them. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate that.
Thank you, RJ. Thank you
guys.
very much. Thank
See
you,
in
everyone.
Nashville.
So I mentioned earlier some mental health resources. This is a work in progress right now, but one of the big pieces of feedback that we get from CRS every year, and we've done a lot of mental health seminars at CRS over the years. Miles Adcox has spoken several times, and we've had other speakers. If you remember CRS on the virtual in 2021, we had a fantastic speaker, and I think it's so important. And we are working on putting a program like that together so that the three pieces of this resource will be Music Health Alliance, Broadcasters Foundation, and some mental health, because we know that even before the pandemic, but certainly the pandemic exacerbated some anxiety and mental health challenges that people are having, and they're real. We want to help that out, and those are always sessions that are well attended at CRS and that are helpful to everyone, and information that they can use right away. So that will be coming. I just wanted to put that out there, that we have not forgotten about the mental health part of all this. I should add too that the Music Health Alliance mental health fund was created in 2021, and that was done to provide music industry professionals with essential mental health services. So in addition to some content that Joey and Brent and his team are going to put together in sessions, Music Health Alliance will also serve as a resource for the mental health piece of this when CRS comes around. So please be looking for that. And of course, we'll keep you posted in all of our messaging and so forth. So in the past 2 years, we created a specific track on the first day of CRS. Now remember, CRS 2023 will be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday cycle, not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And Monday of CRS, March 13th, will be that digital piece. We used to call it the Streaming Summit. We are rebranding it to the Digital Music Summit. And the reason for that is that we found that based on feedback, and again, all the things that we do, we just like radio stations, we conduct research and ask our attendees and our users, our listeners, what's important to them. And they felt that the Streaming Summit brand was a little too limiting and maybe just painted us into a corner. And I think there's so many parts of that business that we need to pay attention to and be appealing to. So we've decided to rebrand this as the Digital Music Summit. For the past 2 years, Annie Ortmeyer with UMG has led the content for Streaming Summit. Well, Annie, congratulations, belatedly, had a baby, beautiful baby girl. And so Annie is focusing on her job and her daughter and her husband for the next year. But we are in capable hands with Tim Foysette from Warner Brothers, and he and his team, Emily Cohen and Bevel Dunkerley, are going to lead the content initiative for the Digital Music Summit. And formerly called the Streaming Summit, now Digital Music Summit. And I think this will be able allow us to broaden the content and give you a lot more information that will be helpful to all of us and merge these two worlds into CRS. So this is exciting for us. It's Monday, March 13th, one day, all day. It is included in your CRS registration that opens tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you buy a registration for CRS and you can attend this track on Monday all day long. And now with a little bit of philosophy and maybe a little teaser on some content, I'll give it over to Tim. And Tim, thank you so much for joining the agenda team and taking on a second job. Tim is basically moonlighting for CRS this year because it's a lot to do. So thank you for that.
Thanks, RJ. I'm hoping you all can hear me. Yes.
Yep, you're coming in loud and clear.
Thanks a lot. I am an hour past my computer completely dying. So let that be no indication of something to expect for the Digital Music and Tech Day, right? It's a real honor to join the agenda committee this year for CRS. I participated in CRS for the last several years. I'm very close to Annie Ortmeyer, who RJ mentioned, and she has passed down a ton of wisdom to me and my team heading into this year. It's been great working with Joey and Brent to put this day together. It's been a lot of fun. RJ mentioned the team that I'm working with, two of my very close friends in this business, Emily Cohen from Amazon Music and Bevel Dunkerley from Pandora and SiriusXM. We've come into the planning for this day completely on board with the rebranding from the Streaming Summit to the Digital Music Summit, mostly because the three of us are on the front lines of the ever-evolving digital side of the music business, and we're seeing a lot of indicators of change that will be potentially coming to fruition over the next several years, and some things that we're seeing right now. So rather than sort of limit us and put us in a box where it's streaming only, meaning typically your Spotify's, your YouTube's, your Apple Music's, your Amazon's, we're really looking at the digital music landscape and some of the, which includes some things like TikTok or Instagram or Web3, which we'll talk about, as sort of new marketing and revenue drivers for artists in this business. So it only makes sense for this rebrand. So we're coming into the planning for this day, really trying to come up with sessions and panel ideas that embrace that. So what you'll see on the Digital Music Summit Day is a lot of folks from a wide variety of the music business, the technology business, that contribute to this beyond just the traditional streaming services. So just to give you a bit of a preview, one of the things that I participated in the past several years is something that's traditionally kicked off the Streaming Summit Day, which is the streaming breakfast. Essentially, what traditionally has happened is we brought in very smart people from the streaming side of the Nashville business to meet and offer guidance to anyone who wants to come to that breakfast. And as someone who's been to that breakfast the last several years, one of the primary questions I got in that session was quite simply, how do I get my music on a playlist? So what we want to do is sort of formalize that question and that process and give people applicable answers to that question. How do I get on a playlist? How do I sort of take matters into my own hands and create my own success on the streaming services? So for instance, one of the panels, we are going to bring in a representative from each of the streaming services to sort of show best practices on how artists, labels, managers can do those sorts of things and find success themselves. We're also going to look at a artist case study in a separate session that basically looks at how an artist has found success culminating with a radio #1 single, but that success really started in a digital platform, so a TikTok or an Instagram, how that success influenced editorial playlisting on streaming services, which evolved into brand partnerships, which evolved into touring, which evolved into radio. So we have a couple artists that we're targeting for case studies in this. Hope to bring you some big names in terms of artists there. And finally, I want to touch on one more panel to preview here. I alluded to this in the introduction to this, but we want to introduce folks who are coming to CRS to next gen music platforms. So this is Web3, NFTs, virtual reality. And what we really want to do is bring in some experts to offer a 101 definition on what these new technologies are. We're also going to bring in artists who've been successful using these platforms to show how they are using these to sort of further market themselves and create revenue for themselves. So real case studies in these areas. So again, sort of like a very 101 overview so that everyone attending CRS can start to understand what we mean by Digital Music Summit and what the future of the music business potentially will look like. So that's just a quick preview of what we're planning for Digital Music Summit Day. And we're really looking forward to seeing everyone. And thanks again, RJ, Brent, and Joey for all your support.
All right, Tim, thank you. That's great. I'm excited about where you're taking this. I think it, as you mentioned, and we talked earlier, broadening the scope of this day and being more inclusive with the whole industry. So thank you very much. Again, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, registration, early bird registration opens. 5:49 is the opening rate. It's good tomorrow only. If you have any questions about anything that we've covered so far, you can either hit the Q&A or the chat box, and we'll be having a formal Q&A session in just a moment. But I wanted to just go over kind of a timeline and sort of a review of some of the things that we've talked about. So tomorrow, as I just mentioned, early bird registration opens up at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. I can't emphasize that and pitch that enough today. On Friday, the regular registration rate hits at $6.49, and that will be in effect until 2 weeks before CRS. The walk-up rate at CRS is $7.29. And while New Faces Show tickets are not included in registration this year and are $100 extra, all the other things at CRS, all the entertainment functions, Warner Brothers lunch, Team UMG at the Ryman, Big Machine lunch on Friday, Acoustic Alley, Amazon Country Heat, all the breakfasts, all the other showcases, all the things at CRS are bundled and inclusive in that registration rate. So I feel like we're bringing you a tremendous amount of content and entertainment, and of course, the networking opportunity that is the signature, the secret sauce for CRS. Couple other dates. I'm just going to go for a couple things that are on the horizon here. On Monday, you'll be seeing information about the Lisa McKay Women in Radio Scholarship Program. We'll open up applications for that. We established that last year. We got a tremendous response from it. Of course, Lisa McKay, longtime programmer of QDR in Raleigh, and a great mentor, a great example for young women aspiring to get into the radio industry. And this scholarship was established in her name. And then October 4th, we've been doing the Rusty Walker Scholarship Program for about 10 years now. Both of these programs afford 3 never before CRS attendees the opportunity to attend CRS free of charge. We pay airfare, hotel, registration, the whole 9 yards. And they have the CRS experience that many of you have had over the years. And as you remember, if you think about your first CRS experience, it's your mind is blown. I mean, I go back to mine many years ago, but everyone who comes for the first time will share that it is just a bit overwhelming, but in a really positive way. So those scholarship programs, we're very proud to bring that to you. And we have a partner, a supporting partner on both of these. DMR Interactive is a supporting partner for both of these programs, and we're very thankful for their participation. Let me just recap some of the stuff that we've talked about today, and then we'll get some questions if you guys have them. Registration, again, I know this sounds like a broken record and I'm beating you over the head with it, but I'm beating you over the head with it. $549. This is the same rate that we've had for the past 4 years, includes access to all the sessions I mentioned a minute ago: breakfast, lunch, showcases, acoustic alley, Amazon, Country Heat. And I didn't mention this before, but we're bringing back Paddle Royale, the big ping pong tournament. That will be Monday night, the 13th at CRS 2023. New Faces of Country Music tickets, $100. They're available until they're sold out. Each registered attendee can purchase a maximum of 2 tickets for New Faces. While included with a full registration, you can purchase 1 additional guest ticket for Amazon Country Music Presents Country Heat at CRS for $100, and all lunch showcases at $75 per luncheon. Again, if you buy a registration for CRS, that's included, but if you have a friend you want to bring to that, or a spouse or something, you can bring them to that. Omni room blocks will be open tomorrow, and the room rate is $283 for single and $293 for double. Booking link will be posted tomorrow on the CRS website. CRS, again, the dates: Monday, March 13th through Wednesday, March 15th, and we hope to see you there. So with that, we'll take it on to a quick Q&A session. I notice we do have some questions. So here's one from Amy Dillon: for planning flights and hotel, about what time do you anticipate the agenda to wrap up on 3/15? That is Wednesday the 15th. CRS typically wraps up at about 4:30 in the afternoon on the final day. And then, of course, we segue right into the cocktail party for New Faces, and then the New Faces show. The Lisa McKay Scholarship, someone asked about the requirements for that. That is posted on the CRB website right now. I would share that with you now, but there are basically the bottom line on that is we're going to ask aspiring applicants to give us a maximum 500 words on why they believe they should be selected for the Lisa McKay Scholarship Program. And you can find all that information on the CRB website, countryradioseminar.com. What nights are Omni Hotel special rates available? Sunday night, the 12th, Monday, the 13th, Tuesday, the 14th, and Wednesday, the 15th. And all that information will be on the link that will be on our website posted tomorrow when registration goes up for sale at 10 o'clock in the morning. Someone's asking about a companion or a spouse rate, and the answer is yes. The spouse rate at CRS is also held steady for the past 3 years. It's $350. And with that rate, they can accompany their spouse with a full registration to all of the events except New Faces. And that, as we've already established, is a separate ticket. One of the first questions that we had, and Joey and Brent, I'll bring you in on this because this is related to topic and not logistics. John Shambi, our friend, Country Radio's coach, not sure where this would fit in, but the Gen Z topic, maybe we should look at some other ways businesses are attracting the group into their various businesses. How can we make radio an attractive profession for this group? That's the $64,000 question. So Joey and Brent, I'll let you jump into that if you have any thoughts, and maybe some of what you're planning for that session addresses John's question here.
John, that's a great question. And we just happen to have a session that is quite literally addressing that, where we're trying to, how to market and appeal our business and our industry to young hires. So we've got a session for it. Thanks for the idea, John.
Great. There's a session for that. Excellent. Well, we're just coming up to the end of our time here together. Brent and Joey, do you have any kind of closing remarks about the agenda or CRS in general? Anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'll just say we're really, really excited. And RJ, thank you for the opportunity for another year to work on this. I will say that the longer I've worked with Brent, the better it's gotten every year, and processes have improved, and content has improved. And I hope that anybody who's been to CRS the past couple of years has noticed a shift. And not to say that it wasn't always great, but the shift being, wow, we're talking about some different things. We've got different faces on stage. We've got different voices speaking on behalf of different topics. That's been very intentional. So that will continue, especially in 2023. And we're excited to head that up. And we're really excited to work more on these sessions and present them to you in 7 months.
Thank you. And I'm just, again, let me reiterate that what you've seen today in terms of the content is just the very beginning. And some of it is subject to change because 7 months from now, something may fall in our lap that we never anticipated, and we'll have to deal with it. And we will. But thank you guys for all your leadership and your great ideas. I just want to just share contact information. If anybody watching today has any questions about CRS, the agenda, anything related to what's going to happen March 13th through 15th, here are contact information for all of us who've been on the call today. And you can reach out to all these folks direct. They're happy to answer your questions on a direct private email. You can follow CRS on our socials, and there they are. So please look for that. We'll be having information tomorrow coming at you about registration. Again, Lisa McKay Scholarship applications open on Monday. And thank you for joining us today and putting up with all of us. We appreciate that. And we hope you have a good rest of the day. And we hope to see you registering tomorrow, bright and early at 10 o'clock in the morning. Thanks, everybody.